So I'd never met them before. I was marrying their son and I was gonna live with them. To perform, to be like a housewife, I was absolutely petrified. Hello, I'm Amy and welcome to this week's video. So, in 2009, I decided to come to Taiwan. I had already got engaged to a Taiwanese boy. We were together a year in England and he had already gone back to Taiwan. I had to sort out a few things in the UK and then I followed him a month later. I was sat on the aeroplane and I have to tell you that I was absolutely petrified. Not petrified because I was going to the other side of the world and it was a totally different culture. I was so excited about that because I've always been a traveller. But I was petrified about meeting my mother and father-in-law. So I'd never met them before. I was already engaged to their son. So you can imagine how much I wanted them to like me. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with their boy. So the questions running around my head was, what if they don't like me? What if I can't learn Chinese fast enough and we can't communicate? Also, I had never spoken to them before. I'd heard my husband speaking to them on the phone, but because I couldn't speak Chinese, they couldn't speak English, it seemed silly having my husband just translate all the time, so we never spoke. But I had no idea, just only knew what my husband had told me before about them. Also, obviously I'd seen movies before. I'd seen a few Asian movies with my husband. The image of the in-laws in Asia wasn't all that great. It was, they had quite a lot of pressure on their children and their daughter-in-laws to perform, to be like a housewife, to be good with money. And I don't think I was any of those things right then. Also, I was gonna be living with them. So I'd never met them before. I was marrying their son and I was gonna live with them. So I arrived in Taoyuan at 11 o'clock at night. So we got back to my husband's home about 1 a.m. And I was like, thank God, that gives me more time to prepare because they were already asleep. My husband said, in the morning, I'm leaving at 7 for work. My dad doesn't leave for work until about 9. So if you want, you can wake up and say hello. And I remember my husband left and I just laid in bed and I thought, I am not gonna go and say hello. Maybe you think that's rude. That was a little bit rude, but I couldn't speak Chinese. I'd never met him before. I didn't know the culture. When you meet someone, do you shake their hand? What do you do? I remember just laying there in the bed and waiting until I heard a door bang, and then I got up. I was just so scared. So my husband came back and I remember got some gifts from my father-in-law. Again, I remember thinking, oh my God, would he like my gifts? I'm not gonna offend him. I got English tea and I remember some chocolate. And I remember seeing my father-in-law. He was different to what I expected. I don't know why, I just expected quite a sternish kind of guy. And he was just so smiley. And I remember him just saying welcome. He said it in English and immediately I just felt a lovely feeling from him. Couldn't communicate, only through my husband. But my father-in-law, he started to show me how to do the tea ceremony, and he taught me, he just showed me how to prepare the tea. Without language, I could feel that I was welcome in his home. But, okay, my mother-in-law, she works as a 24-hour nurse, so at that time she wasn't at home. So I didn't actually get to meet her until 5 days later. And I was more nervous about meeting Mama because I knew she wasn't that keen on some of my husband's past girlfriends. And I thought, well, gosh, I'm a foreigner as well. I can't even speak her language, so I'm really, really worried. Is she gonna like me? If she doesn't like me, what am I gonna do? I want to marry Alex. And I remember we first met and she was smiley, but she didn't really say much. So I could kind of feel she was kind of assessing me, you know what I mean? She was very, very sweet. She bought me some gifts, things like that, and just lovely. We had dinner together. She didn't really say much. She asked a few questions to my husband, via translation. And I couldn't really tell if she liked me or not. And I remember saying to my husband, does she like me? And he's like, of course she likes you. I think she was just nervous, because obviously she couldn't speak English. She felt embarrassed, and I couldn't speak Chinese. I felt embarrassed. So it was like that. So I kind of thought maybe she didn't like me because not much was said. So I lived with them for 6 months and then we found a place of our own. We kind of saved a bit of money and then moved out. Yes, there were some cultural differences, but I think that's natural. And also in England as well, if I live with my own parents, there's some differences and we have different views of things and things like that. So that wasn't really an issue. I just want to say that my perception of them before I came, what I'd seen in the stereotypical movies, Asian movies of how in-laws were, and all the pressures they were on the daughter-in-law, I have seen none of that whatsoever. And I just want to share with you how amazing these people actually are. I have been treated like royalty, I'm not even joking. They treat me so well, like a daughter. Let's start with my mother-in-law. She is the kindest soul. Every time we meet, she's asking about my family. how are they doing, especially recently during the pandemic. Oh, how are they doing? I hope they're okay. If they need face masks, let me know. I'm sending them back to them. She always cooks like chicken, Chinese medicine for me, which is really good for women. And I absolutely love it. And whenever I drink it, I just feel so warm inside. She's always cooking it for me, like loads of it, and then I can put it in the freezer, and when I need it, I just defrost it. So that's really sweet, because I know how long it takes her to prepare that kind of stuff. She always comes to our restaurant with bags of stuff, and I think, oh my gosh, it's so heavy for her. And she brings us fruit and vegetables and things, healthy food to take care of ourselves. I think the most touching thing my mother-in-law has done was come to our wedding in the UK. I knew it was a massive step for her. She'd never been that far away. I think she'd only been to Japan before. She couldn't speak English. I knew it was such a big culture shock, and also it was freezing in England at that time. But she just fitted in perfectly. She couldn't speak the language, but she did so much to make people feel happy around her, and she bought gifts for all my family. And she was always hugging them. My father-in-law, he's like my second father. He is the sweetest, kindest man, and I always feel so much love when we go back to visit. He's always funny, always cracking jokes, and always doing just sweet little gestures. I remember he also gave me one of his favourite little teapots. I also knew that how much of a big thing that was, because he loves his teapots, and he knew how much I love oolong tea, so he gave me this little teapot. And I also remember when my mum passed away, I came back to Taiwan after the funeral and everything, and I remember he'd asked my husband what's my favourite food, and he cooked all my favourite foods, even sweet and sour. And I remember going to the house, of course, a little bit down, and he just said, you know, we're always here for you, and this is your home, and whatever you need, we're here. And I remember just seeing this food and thinking, oh my God, such a sweet man. And I felt so much support from them. Just think I'm so utterly blessed. And it was such a shock as well, because I do know I'm not saying that all Taiwanese mother and father-in-law are nice. I have heard some horror stories, I must say, from a few foreigners. But I am so blessed. Baba, if you're watching this, I just want you to know how thankful I am for everything and for accepting me into your culture, because I know sometimes, even at the beginning, I couldn't speak Chinese, and maybe I missed home. Sometimes maybe I was, I got easily angry and frustrated because I couldn't speak, and you were always so patient, and I have never felt any pressure, never any pressure. Like I've mentioned before, me and my husband don't want children. Of course, my mother-in-law at the start said, oh, are you gonna have children then? But after she knew we'd made that decision, there was no pressure. And I do know other people that have also had the same decision, and they've had pressure. I've not had that. I've also not had the pressure to have to live with them as well. I know a lot of parents like their kids to stay with them and live with them. No pressure there. So thank you for watching this week's video. I just felt like I wanted to share that this week with you guys. And please do share with me if you are married to someone from a different culture, a different country. Do you have cultural differences? Has it been a smooth transition, just like myself? Or has there been problems down the line? Share below and we can all see each other's experiences. So thank you so much for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. YouTube, Facebook and Instagram is Amy Ingor or My Asian Adventure. If you haven't already, you can check out my restaurants. One's in Xinyi, one's in Danshui, Ingor Brit Shake. We're on Shopee and also www.britshake.com. Thank you again, everyone. See you next time. Bye bye.